I genuinely think you're going to be shocked by this. I mean, it happened to me and I'm still shocked by this. Like in my head, there's a variety of like little truths that I kind of operate my life on without really reconsidering the truths all the time. They're just kind of flying under the radar. And this is one of those things. Have you ever heard the expression, don't put all your eggs in the same basket? Well, I mean, of course, like everybody's heard that, right? It's like mainstream advice, probably pretty good advice in most situations. But in the context of me starting my web design business, it was terrible advice. And it probably took multiple years of progress off of basically launching my career. And here's what it is. It's like, what are the eggs? Have you ever thought about what are the eggs? And what's the basket? And like, what role do you play in it? So there's actually three things going on in that expression. It's the eggs, it's the basket, and you're in there too. And so like, I didn't think about all of that stuff. And I was just sort of kind of operating my life on like, I don't want to have this single point of failure. Like I don't want to have like all of my resources tied up in one thing. And so I want to diversify a little bit. And that wrecked the progress of my business. Now here's how I kind of see this right now. So like the eggs are kind of like hope, right? It's like the future hope. It's like you don't want the eggs themselves. You want whatever the future holds for the eggs. Like maybe you're going to sell the eggs. Maybe you're going to take the eggs from the coop to the kitchen for breakfast or whatever and eat the eggs. But for whatever reason, you don't want just the eggs. It's like the eggs are representing like hope. And then you got the basket. And so you can't just like chuck the eggs from the coop to the kitchen. It's like you got to have some kind of a strategy to get them there, right? And that's what the basket is. The basket is like your strategy for realizing the hope. And then there's you, right? So like you actually have to pick up the basket and carry it. It's like you're the one executing everything. And those are the three things that are going on. And the problem was when I'm thinking about, well, don't put all my eggs in the same basket, the big mind-opening thing was I've only got one egg. Like in the beginning, like when I'm launching the business, it was like me working out of my house with a laptop. It's like I only had one egg. And so when I realized that, I began to see I've messed myself up in two major ways. The first way was I was thinking I had multiple eggs. And what I was actually doing is I was actually just putting rocks that looked like eggs into my basket. And so now my basket is so weighted down that I can't take it anywhere. It's slowing me down. So for an example of a rock that looks like an egg are all the things that you think you need to be doing in order to be able to make progress, but it really doesn't matter. Like here's three big ones for me. I thought I needed a portfolio of work to show. You do not need a portfolio to land clients. If you have a portfolio, it helps, but you don't have to spend a ton of time wasting your day building free websites for people or even for nobody just for the sake of building a portfolio. You don't have to spend like social media. It's like if posting on social media all the time, like that's a huge waste of time. That's a rock that looks like an egg. Blogging, oh my gosh, it's like I spent so much time writing what I thought were pillar posts only to realize I was actually targeting other web designers and not my actual clients or the content I was creating. And so like, what a waste of time. It's like all of those rocks that look like eggs were just like loading my basket down so much that I couldn't even lift the basket and make any progress at all. So that was one major problem with like decoy eggs. But then the other problem was, what if you need multiple baskets, right? So like if you're not going to put all your eggs in the same basket, maybe you need more baskets. And that was the other problem. So what would happen is like, basically anytime I would get a lead from anywhere, it was like that lead was bringing me a new basket, like a new strategy to try to make ends meet or whatever. And so what ended up happening was every time I would get a lead or referral or whatever, it was like a new basket, which is piling up. So I had this giant pile of baskets and all of them were basically all at the starting line. Like I couldn't carry all this, it's too many baskets to carry because it's just me with one egg, right? So that was the major mindset shift that really launched my career, realizing that I only have one egg right now. Like maybe later, like if I launch multiple businesses in the future or whatever, maybe it's a different situation. But right now, when I'm launching my business, it's just me working out of my house with the laptop. I've got one egg and I need one basket and there's one me. So what does all of that mean? So it means basically three things in terms of how I launched the business. So with regard to the egg, it's like, well, I needed an offer, right? So like I wanted the offer to be a hope-oriented offer, like results-oriented, not output-oriented, not like, hey, I'm going to build you this 5-page website, but it's more like, hey, I'm going to get some leads for you. I'm going to generate some more clients for you. We're going to build some revenue together. Like it's like I needed an offer that embodied hope, not just hope for me, but hope for my client too, because I want them to feel like my offer is a hope generating thing for them. So like the eggs are the offers. You have to have an offer. And then the second thing is the strategy. So basically the big thing holding my business back, other than the offer, was I didn't have any consistent way of generating leads. So basically I needed a funnel, right? So like I needed to develop some way to reach out to clients, bring them into a call, and then onboard them. And that's what I would refer to as like a funnel. And so like you have to have this. So that's the strategy. So now you got the offer, that's the eggs, you got the strategy, that's the basket. And then there's me. It's like, what role am I going to play in that? It's like, that's the execution. It's like, you can have a great offer and a really cool lead generation strategy, but you just don't do anything, right? It's like you get distracted and do other things. And, you're trying to carry like 1,000 baskets at once, or you're loaded down by too many eggs, or like so many things that can mess you up with regard to actually the execution of those other two things. And that was the me role. And so like I had to just be focused on what I was doing. And so like if I got a lead from somewhere that was inconsistent with the one egg in my one basket, like they'd say, hey Lee, what if you do this? It's like, nope, I got this basket and I'm carrying it to the kitchen. So like I can't do that right now. I had to, as soon as I focused on those three things, like I have a solid offer, I've got a good funnel, so I know how to get leads, and I'm focused on executing those three things, everything opened up. That was literally the key that unlocked the door to launching my entire career. And it was all kind of messed up by this mainstream bad advice. So I'm going to put a link in the description. Check that out if you want my help kind of building your offer, your funnel, or like the execution or the closing the deal part. Or if you want to see how once you have those three things in place, how that can actually put $100,000 in the bank, check out this next video and I'll give you my whole blueprint for how to put $100,000 in the bank as a web designer.